Yo, what's up, Taurus? Welcome to your monthly forecast for the month of April 2017. Taurus, one quick announcement before I start your forecast. I'm posting daily astrology on my Facebook page now. So every day I'm going to be posting a forecast for all 12 signs. So check it out. Head to my Facebook page, read your daily forecast, and make sure to give a like when you're there. Now I'm going to jump into your monthly forecast for April of 2017. The sun is going to be transiting the sign of Aries throughout the month of April 2017, and Aries is your 12th house. It has to do with getting rest, getting closure. It has to do with things coming to a completion, potentially things that are private and hidden. The sun's going to be in this area up until April 19th, Taurus. So all the things that I just mentioned are going to be the main focus of your life up until April 19th, and then on April 19th the sun is going to shift into your sign, so that's going to be a time for new beginnings for you, Taurus. That's going to be your solar return, where the sun does its annual return to your sign. So my advice to you, Taurus, if there's anything in your life that is no longer serving you, or just outdated, or just whatever, it just doesn't belong in your life anymore, start letting go now, because when the sun shifts into your sign on April 19th, that's the time for new beginnings for you, Taurus. And the last thing you want to do is clog up your new beginnings with things that don't fit into your life. So those are the main themes for you, Taurus, for the month of April 2017. Now I'm going to talk about some more specific major astrological events that are set to occur this month and what they mean for you. Right off the bat, on April 2nd, Venus retrogrades so much that now it's retrograding into Pisces. So Venus has actually started retrograding on March 4th, and that started in Aries, your 12th house of rest. So it's been retrograding in your 12th house since March 4th, but now it's going to retrograde so much that it's going backwards into Pisces. And Pisces has to do with your friendships, and it's going to be retrograding in this area. It's going to be moving backwards in Pisces all the way up until April 15th. So during this time, you may see some friends reappear who you haven't seen in a while. So depending on where you are in your life, Taurus, maybe friends from high school, friends from the old neighborhood, friends from college. So there could be friends that come up. Now this has to do with love too. It's Venus, the planet of love. So some Tauruses could end up seeing a former flame come back during this time, following April 2nd. And for you single Tauruses, this is not going to happen for all Tauruses, but whenever Venus goes retrograde, yeah, it has to do with lovers from the past, but not just lovers from the past in this lifetime. It could have to do with a lover from a past lifetime. So, potentially maybe some Tauruses, it's not going to happen for all, but some Tauruses, someone's going to come in from a past lifetime. It's a soulmate potentially. So you could be meeting this person for the very first time in your life, but maybe you knew them from a past life. Whether or not you're supposed to move forward with them, that's uncertain. You'll have to see how it goes. And on April 5th, Mars is in Taurus. That's in your sign. It's making a positive angle to Pluto in Capricorn. Capricorn's your 9th house. That's to do with faraway places, foreign cultures, spirituality. It's going to resonate differently for all Tauruses. So on April 5th, it's like some Tauruses, maybe they recently just got back from somewhere far away. Maybe you're currently in a faraway place watching this video, or, potentially some Tauruses are going to be going somewhere far away down the line. So it's resonating differently for all Tauruses. Now, this also has to do with foreign cultures. Some Tauruses potentially having some positive interactions with those who are from foreign cultures right around on April 5th and right around that date. And this area also has to do with spirituality. So, potentially some Tauruses really becoming fascinated with spiritual subjects on April 5th, and whatever spiritual subject it may be, whether it's astrology, numerology, tarot, and if it's not some of the esoteric arts, then potentially it could be an organized religion of some type. So whatever spirituality you're involved with or recognize in your life, Taurus, you can expect your fascination with it to be heightened right around April 5th. On April 6th, Saturn, the planet of permanence, goes retrograde. So now we got Saturn going backwards. Once again, retrogrades where the planet looks like it's going backwards. It's not really going backwards, but it looks like it is. What does this mean astrologically? Well, it's going to be retrograding in Sagittarius all the way up until August 25th, and Sagittarius is your 8th house. It has to do with your shared resources, your shared finances. It has to do with business contracts, deals, negotiations. When planets go retrograde, sometimes they put things on hold. So potentially from April 6th, when Saturn starts retrograding, all the way up until August 25th, something could get put on hold regarding a business contract potentially for some of you. Potentially a shared resource situation. Is there something that you're trying to move forward in your life with, Taurus, regarding a shared resource situation? Think about where in your life do you have your money tied up with somebody else, or your finances, or whatever. This could have to do with an investment of some sort. So you may have to wait until Saturn goes forward again on August 25th to see some progress with this. On April 7th, the Sun is in Aries. It's your 12th house of rest and closure. It's making an opposition to Jupiter in Libra, your 6th house of work. So this is like, you have the Sun in Aries on one side of the sky, and you have Jupiter in Libra on the other side of the sky, and they're facing off. So they're making an exact opposition to each other, Taurus. So what does it suggest astrologically? It sounds like on April 7th, you're just recognizing the fact that, damn, like, you need to get some rest. You're exhausted. I mean, you've been working hard for a long time. So, now all of a sudden your body's like telling you, like, Taurus, you got to get some rest. And you might even really feel it on April 7th. So, maybe a lot of stuff's happening in your work situation, and it's commanding your attention, and really all you want to do is get some rest. So you're going to notice that on April 7th. On April 9th, Mercury, the planet of communication, begins its retrograde cycle in your sign. So what does this suggest? I mean, everyone knows about Mercury retrograde causes disruptions in communication. The planet looks like it's going backwards. It's not really going backwards, but it looks like it is. It has to do with communication. So this is it's in your sign. It's in the first Taurus. As for you as a Taurus, Taurus is the first house of self. This has to do with communication about you and conversations about you. So maybe there's going to be some conversations that are coming up again, Taurus, and they have to do with you. So you're going to be the main focus of conversation following Mercury retrograde, which starts on April 9th. On April 11th, there's a full moon in Libra. Libra is your 6th house, primarily has to do with your work situation, also has to do with your daily life and your health. So expect some changes in all the areas that I just mentioned. Full moons bring changes. There could be, following the full moon in April 11th, there could be some changes in your workplace, whether it's with you or around you or whatever. Some Tauruses potentially going to another work opportunity altogether. Other Tauruses staying within their existing company may start to see some changes happening around them. This is also going to affect your daily process. It has to do with daily life. So think about what you do every day, Taurus. You get up, you go to work, you come home, you go to the gym, you eat dinner, you go to bed, whatever your daily process is, think about it, Taurus. That process is set to change, and this also has to do with your health. So April 11th, full moon in Libra, your 6th house of health. You're going to maybe a health concern is going to come up. You're like, I got to take care of that health issue that's bothering me or whatever. It may raise a red flag in your mind right around that time. Or some Tauruses potentially just, finding the urge to get more physically fit following April 11th. On April 15th, Venus, the planet of love, now turning direct in Pisces. That's your 7th house of that's your Pisces is your 11th house. That has to do with your friendships and your social situation. So now love is going to be more forward thinking, whereas before, when it was retrograding, it was more about, past loves coming in, potentially some soulmates coming in for some Tauruses, not all. So this has to do with how you want to proceed with your love life moving forward, Taurus, on April 15th. So if you're happy, with who you're with, then, obviously what you want to do is you want to stay with the person that you're with. And if things are going well, then that's great. And if you're a Taurus that's single, this is potentially maybe an opportunity to look to see if there's going to be someone in your friendships, because Venus, the planet of love, moving direct, and Pisces is your 11th house, has to do with your friendships, your social situation, has to do with social media. Potentially for you single Tauruses, you maybe want to reach out to somebody on social media that you're attracted to. Other single Tauruses maybe know somebody in their circle of friends would be a good option for you right around this time. On April 20th, Pluto starts its retrograde cycle. So we got a lot of planets doing retrograde stuff throughout the month of April, starting the retrograde cycles. And this one's in Capricorn. That's your 9th house. 9th house has to do with faraway places, foreign cultures, spirituality. And it's going to be doing this retrograde all the way up until September 28th. This retrograde cycle basically has the way it's going to resonate is going to be different for every Taurus. Some Tauruses, not all, but some Tauruses will return to a faraway destination that they've been to before, sometime between April 20th and September 28th. Now, other Tauruses potentially are going to be shaking off old, outdated tendencies and thought processes regarding spiritual subjects. So whatever spiritual interpretation that you've had before in the past, however you involved yourself with spirituality before in the past. I mean, Pluto, what retrogrades do is they shake off old habits and old processes. So, whatever assumptions that you've had about spirituality in the past, potentially these are on their way out between April 20th and September 28th. So look out for that one. Also on April 20th, Mercury retrograde now retrogrades so much that it retrogrades out of your sign, and it moves backwards so much that it's now going into Aries, which is your 12th house of rest. And this is really going to highlight the need for rest for you, Taurus, following April 20th. You're going to notice that. It's not going to move forward again in this area until May 3rd. So during that time, you're going to notice that you may need some more rest during that time. Some Taurus is potentially trying to bring something to a completion. Like what in your life are you trying to bring to a completion or to some sort of finalization? Potentially this may be hung up until Mercury starts moving forward again in your 12th house of completions, and it doesn't start moving forward again until May 3rd. On April 26th, there's a new moon in your sign, so all new beginnings coming down the pike for you, Taurus. So the way new moon works, it's going to hit on April 26th, 6 months that follow the new moon, all this new stuff coming down the pike for you, Taurus. This has to do with matters of self because it's in the first house for you as a Taurus. Taurus is the first house of self, and new beginnings for you. So the 6 months that follow April 26th, people are going to be like, wow, Taurus, that's new about you. And wow, Taurus, that's new about you too. So look out for new beginnings coming down the pike for you, Taurus, following April 26th. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe, share, and like. I'm on Instagram, Gregory Furlan Official. Facebook is Gregory Furlan. I'll see you guys next month. Take care.